That's what we're gonna do.
That's what we're gonna
I'm
do.
pissed at this point, and now I'm just gonna let the people know that I'm just fucking going live.
Do it.
Awesome.
You're both thrilled.
Yeah.
See, Matt got to be part of that whole conversation. And you were not, Steve.
Yeah.
You
I'm
were
always
not.
everything.
You were not allowed.
Of course not.
But anyway, I had attempted, ladies and gentlemen, to sort of get things out of the way beforehand, sort of, nip some things in the bud before I started the show tonight. And yeah, that kind of fell apart.
The bud fell apart, is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to get a delivery at 6:30, and at 6:27 I got a phone call that said delivery was not going to be here at 6:30.
What kind of half-assed operation are they running?
I don't know, but they are en route. So I said, "Fuck it, I'll just go live, and then when the guy shows up, he should be here momentarily. I will run down and take care of that, and then we'll start the show."
See, if you had Jason Statham, the transporter, making that delivery, this wouldn't be an issue.
Everything would be early.
You'd be high right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd have been like, it'd have been like 6:20. He just showed up and been like, "I have to go."
Yeah. You would have like come home from the party and he would have been like sitting on your couch.
Right. So to give everybody an idea, at 5:30, I made the call for my order, and I was like, "Hey, when can I get this?" I'm like, "I'm about 45 minutes from home." And they were like, "Hey, about 45 minutes." I said, "Well, hey,
Awesome.
FYI, it's going to be a little tight because I got to stop to grab cash because you guys don't accept card." So the guy's like, "Okay." And he texts me back a little while after that, and he says, "We'll be there at 6:30.
Awesome.
I got home at 6:05.
I can just see you pacing the floor, looking at your watch.
I have to mute because I can't put him live.
Come on, let's let Matt. We should pretend what he's saying. I'm not good at this.
Hey, you got the fucking shit?
Yeah,
you got the money.
Well, now he's going to just leave us here.
Well, yeah.
And walk away.
I mean, I thought things would be ran a little more professional after it got legalized. But this is very much like a basic drug deal that always happened in high school.
It's pretty much the same. Well, I don't know. I didn't do drugs in high school, nor as an adult.
Neither did I. No. But I knew people that told me stories about it. And this is what they described.
Get that text or that phone call. Well, back then they had burner. Well, did we have burner phones back then?
No, we had pagers.
Pagers, that's right. And it would come up with a certain code, and you knew that's your weed delivery.
420-911.
Yeah. 7734. If you turn it upside down, it spells hell on a calculator. Remember those days? Yeah.
8008.
Haha, boobs. You got to put a 5 in there. These kids nowadays, man, they don't know the struggles we went through.
They have no appreciation.
Oh, pagers and flip phones. Jeez.
My stepdaughter was talking about some girl in class who's like always eating Doritos and drinking soda. She brings like soda and Doritos with her to class every day.
Awesome.
And I'm just like, you're bringing chips and pop to class. You can have your phones. Like, we weren't even allowed to like chew gum.
No. If you brought anything into that classroom, the teacher took it, put it in her desk, and you were lucky if you got it back at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how it worked with us. And then you got a special ticket to the principal's office because you did it,
Yeah.
and a paddling. You ever get paddled in school?
Yeah. I was part of the final generation of paddles.
Yeah, me too. I don't think that Chris got paddled quite enough in school.
No, he obviously didn't
No,
I didn't what?
get paddled enough
in school.
in school.
School?
You
Dude,
didn't
I
get paddled in school?
um
You're from that generation.
let me explain something to you. I did not get hit in school, but I got hit at home.
Oh, I got both. I got both ends of that.
Let me explain something to you, Steve. I'm going to have to. This will take a second.
Okay.
I'm bringing this up. I found it rather humorous, and I think you'll appreciate it as well.
I may.
Here we go. So, Chris ran across something the other day
Okay. Uh-oh.
and sent it to me.
Is it
And it's-
Sweetwater Legend stuff again?
Yes, except it's his own Sweetwater Legend.
Oh, the yearbook photo
Yeah.
where he got a full page spread.
Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah.
But
How
did
the
you
fuck-
see? Did you see what he said?
Yeah, and I made a snide remark about it, of course.
Yeah.
He was going to regain the brain cells that he lost. I don't think that's happening.
No.
No. But like even young high school Chris was still the same fucking guy that he is right now.
With a mullet, of course.
Thanks to Shelley for a great relationship.
Oh, don't even fucking bring her up.
Thank God that I made it through high school.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Shelley. Yeah, thank her. Thank you.
We should have Shelley on the show.
Oh, we should not. Oh, we
I don't
should
even know who
not.
Shelley is.
For
but
one,
she-
okay. For one, let me give people a little frame of reference on this one. Then we're gonna start the show. We'll dig in a little deeper. This is a woman that I had in 2 relationships with. One during high school, and it lasted for about 4 or 5 years, maybe a little longer. And then later on, after we both got divorced, we got together again. And both times I was wrong to do that.
Yeah. Sounds like
So, in case anybody's wondering, it was a mistake both times around. And she is one of those people who is very does not like to be put on the spot. Would not want to be on a live show in no way, shape, or form, and would take offense to it. So she'd take offense to this show, period.
And she dated you
Yeah,
twice,
but
she takes offense to this type of behavior.
she liked the D, Steve.
That means nothing.
I don't know what to tell you. I'll tell you. For me, what it was fucking pussy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was
Usually what it
just,
is.
and it was stupidity because I thought it was the only good pussy. It was just stupidity.
So in the entire world, you thought that was the best you would ever get.
Pretty much.
Huh.
Steve, we all have these stupid things about us. Just because mine sound like outrageous to you, listen, you and your bullshit sounds outrageous to Matt and I.
Like what? Oh, why did I ask? Because there's going to be an example, and I'm not going to like it.
Oh God. Anyway, let's get this fucking show started. Now that all things have been taken care of. Mute yourselves, if you will.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that there's the mute button.
Yeah,
Right there.
yeah.
Once a week, 3 laddies come together from distant lands to talk about Bigfoot, Martians, ghosts, time travel, chupacabras, and the Sweetwater Legend.
I think we're all huge fans of the Sweetwater Legend.
This is the Fortean Slip with your host, Chris York
Say no to Quaaludes? Fuck no. Wait a minute. No. Say yes.
Co-host Steve Alcorn.
Like, take a break, shut my camera off, go
You
out
can
to
do it.
sandwich.
And sometimes special guest Matt Knapp.
Just
Right, you're right.
accept it for what it is and just watch it and enjoy it.
They don't know who you are. They don't know what you want. If you're looking for entertainment, you may have come to the wrong podcast. But what they do have is a very particular set of skills.
There are no cows.
No cows.
No.
No cows were harmed in the making of this incident. We often wish that your relationship went much like that of the praying mantis.
I thought that was a reference to everything being green.
Yeah, sure you did. Carry on, gentlemen. I'm going to do something else for a little while.
Wow, Steve, would you like us to stop the program so you continue to do your shit?
You're about to witness the strength of creep knowledge.
Howdy, and welcome to the Fortean Slip, episode 113. The Star Wars Murders. Also known as the Marconi Murders.
Macaroni murders?
The Macaroni Murders. I'm Macaroni. So to let everybody know about said picture that Matt is talking about, because I'm more than willing to throw my ass under the bus. Here is said photo.
Fucking rocking that mullet, though. I'm telling you what.
Yeah, I mean, that thing. This is the so excuse me. When I was a senior in high school, my last name is obviously York. I was the last person in the list. The yearbook staff came to me, which was basically a teacher and a student, and they were like, we don't really know what to do with the last page. It's just you, and we're like, well, so we want to take a couple extra pictures of you and just put those on the page. And I was like, that doesn't sound right, but okay, because I'm a press whore. And
Well, I mean, it says camera shy.
no, see, that's the thing that is kind of misleading. The camera shy is for the peoples whose names are underneath.
Oh, okay.
Those are the people that did not appear in the yearbook. So because I thought that at first too, I'm like, why did they put camera shy? And then I was like, oh, because it's
next to the guy that's like posing in
Right.
the field.
Yeah. So yeah, I had been wanting to find this, and I had told my son about it because his cousins went to Gorham. One of them went to Gorham High School where I graduated from, and the others go there. And I was like, just have one of them look at it in the library and send you a picture of it. I'm like, they gave me the whole page, and he just never, of course he always forgets or whatever. He just doesn't give a shit. And I sent it to him, and he was like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah, they did it. And people were pissed. And I'm like, I had nothing to do with it. I had zero to do with this. I sat for the pictures, but I mean, I had zero to do with the decision to do this. I think it's fucking hilarious.
Well, in those bottom two photos, you can see how into it you are.
Oh, yeah. I didn't give a fuck. I was just like, whatever. Just fucking take the pictures.
The top one, though, is a typical 1990s.
Oh, it's a senior photo.
Yeah, senior photo right there.
With my lovely fucking tan line from my watch band, because I was like, yeah, I don't want to wear that in the photo. Ugh. Some of the things I used to do is just, ugh.
My senior picture is quite intriguing, actually.
But
We won't show it. That one will never see the light of day.
It's quite the fucking mullet. So for those of you listening on the podcast version of this, the audio only, I do have the picture up on the YouTube video. It's it's a hell of a mullet. I mean, I'll give myself that. I definitely rocked that shit.
I think my senior photo's on the internet.
Yeah, I hope mine isn't.
See, I looked for it for the longest time, and the thing that I couldn't, I kept running into was I would run into sites where they want me to pay to see the yearbook, and then I just ran across this one like the other day where it's like, oh, we uploaded it all digitally. You can download it as or look at it as a PDF. So I was like, oh shit, and I looked, sure as shit, there it is. But yeah, fun times. Fun times. Is that better than the Sweetwater Legend there, Steve?
No,
No?
nothing matches the Sweetwater Legend.
No? Okay. Well, I'm trying, I try to, dole out the wheels on the bus going over people, try to spread it around, Steve.
We got to find Matt's senior picture. That'll be fun.
I'm sure you can find it. Steve, if you had the same skills that you used to have,
I still have them.
Yeah, that you once possessed.
yeah. If you could use those, I mean, other than that, we'd have to wait on Matt, really.
Yeah.
Kinda. I mean,
Well, I'd have to know what high school he went to.
yeah, you can't find that stuff out?
Well, I probably could. I know he's from Oklahoma, so that narrows it down to, a few Matt naps.
Few Matt naps.
You used to have my address.
Yeah, that was years ago. Wasn't it? I don't know.
You've asked for it. I don't know how many times, dude.
Yeah, because I want to send you guys things, and then I never do.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Why don't you send something to Matt? You should.
Maybe I should send him a Sweetwater Legend coffee mug.
I think you should. I think he
he'd
deserves.
enjoy that.
Of anyone here who deserves a Sweetwater Legend coffee mug, I would say it's Matt.
That's right.
Well,
I mean, he was the one that came across the picture,
Yes.
perpetuated the myth.
Yes. Oh, it's growing on its own.
Oh, is it?
Oh my God.
I think it's funny.
Yeah, it is.
I love that you got sent the coffee mug. I think that's hilarious.
I mean, I'm just saying it's gone a life of its own. I just need to capitalize on it somehow. I will. I'll figure it out.
You should make
The
some
Amazon
t-shirts.
merch store. The Amazon merch store is coming soon.
Dude, why don't you do like I did with that t-shirt website?
Because I don't like that t-shirt website. I don't like the fact that you can only sell so many, and then you have to sell a certain amount.
You can only
I've already
sell
sold
so
a
many. You can sell a bunch.
Yeah, but you have to reach a certain level before they ship them, right?
Yeah, it's like 9.
Yeah, who's going to buy 9 of those things?
I sold 9. If I can sell 9, you can.
I don't like that kind of website, but I have an Amazon merch account where I can.
Hey, dude,
actually
whatever
make
you want to
merch
do.
and upload it to
I think
Amazon,
you
which is-
you should be selling like Sweetwater Legend fucking flasks, Sweetwater
have
Legend
them.
coffee
They're-
cups.
They're on the website.
Yeah?
Yeah. Mason jar. Yeah. With a straw.
Bring it on, Steve.
Yeah, it's there.
Where's it?
I gave you the link.
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Mason jar.
Yeah, so you can drink your beer out of it. People drink, country
Beer? No, you drink moonshine out of that.
Oh yeah,
Like a man.
a real man,
Like a
the
fucking
Sweetwater
man,
Legend
Steve.
Who doesn't
Like
drink.
the Sweetwater Legend who did no.
No, he doesn't drink.
You are not a man. I had some Crown Royal today. That was pretty good. I actually had a drink for the first time since like the whole thing with my rash.
Oh yeah, the rash.
Yeah, because like I was having some serious fucking problems with that, and I wound up picking up one of the Yankee swap gifts that I threw under the tree was a bottle of Crown Royal apple, Crown Royal Regal apple. It's in a green box, and my cousin's daughter wound up getting it, and I said, "You got to let me have at least one shot out of that before you take it." So I wound up having one, and nothing happened because I found out from doing a little digging that it was the filter on the shower. And I got talking to Dr. Steve from Weird Medicine. I had sent him audio about what had happened, and I'm pretty sure he fucked up and forgot to use it because he mentions it on the show, and then I never heard it, and I never went back and really looked to see if it was on there for sure. But he was like, I could have fucking forgotten it, dude, and I'm sorry. I'm like, no big deal. But we had gotten talking about it for a while, and he said, yeah, it probably was a fungus in your filter. As the water sat in the filter, you probably wound up getting a fungus, and then every time that you turned on the water again, it was just spraying that onto you. And that's why I was just breaking out all over. So I was like, oh, that's lovely. But got rid of that, no problem anymore. So
now you can drink to your heart's content.
Well, no, I was never a drinker anyway, Steve.
But now you can be one if you want to.
If I want to become an alcoholic,
Yes.
That can be on the table now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
And
considered
without,
it myself.
and without fear of hives.
I've considered becoming an alcoholic. I see how much fun those.
How's
guys
your
have.
wife? How's your wife on that front?
I
She on board? She on board?
I wouldn't have a wife at that point, but
No.
that's part of the deciding factor.
It becomes a problem really quick.
Yes.
Yeah, it depends. Like some people are happy drunks, but at the same time, you son of a bitch. Oh, this is good. Yeah.
Well, it is, 'tis the season.
Dude, you are fucking GQ smooth, motherfucker.
Oh, goody.
Well,
Oh,
here's the
yeah.
thing.
I know what this is going to be.
Let me preface. One of the few times since I began growing facial hair that I actually shaved the facial hair off, and I had began regrowing it.
If this Matt
So it's a
Knapp,
bit misleading.
this Matt Knapp from 1995 showed up today at my front door, I would recognize him. I think.
It's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, he is. A very, that picture could have been taken yesterday.
It could have been.
Yeah, I mean, because it fits in with.
I mean,
today's times.
the hairline's a little bit different.
Yeah, the styling and
That'll happen.
Yeah.
You see this gray?
I doubt that mine's online, but let me look.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know if you have yours, Steve? I'm surprised you don't have a copy of yours in your house somewhere.
Oh, I have the actual senior photo, but not the one that appeared in the yearbook. The one that appeared in the yearbook is okay. It's the actual one that's not good at all.
Let me tell you guys a story. So the other night we
A
go.
lovely lady?
No, we go to look at Christmas lights.
Oh, was this the other night?
Yeah.
Oh.
And, I don't live in a bad neighborhood. I live in a middle-class neighborhood. But everybody knows that if you go to look at Christmas lights, you go to the rich neighborhoods.
Oh,
So that's where we were.
Well, not always, Matt.
What?
Sometimes, Matt, a drug dealer
A guy.
Well,
in
you
a trailer park.
Yeah. You can definitely get lit in the ghetto, I guess.
Well, I'm just saying. We went to the upper-class neighborhoods. And we had done all that. So then we go across, and now we're going into the older rich neighborhoods where the houses are older and not as big, but at one time they were like the top notch, and they're still very expensive, like dream home type places.
Mm-hmm.
And we're off in this neighborhood, and I hang a right at the end of the street. I'm going down the block, and I'm approaching the stop sign at the end of the street now, and there is a mass of people walking down the street.
Carol?
At least 100 people. Like
Were
this.
They were they singing Christmas carols?
They were. It was carolers. But we're talking mass. It looked like a fucking parade. Like they're wearing elf costumes and everything. And then, here's the thing. Now, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. You know, we stopped. We had to wait for them to go by. It took like 5 minutes for them to get by and everything. We waited for them to go by, and we like weren't sure because it kind of sounded like they were singing, but there was
like, how much if I hit them all?
Yeah, and so like we pull up, kind of like behind them, and like Leslie like rolled down the window and like, "Hey, are you guys carolers?" And they're like, "Yeah." So yes, they were carolers. However, while I'm sitting at the stop sign, and they're all walking by, we're talking. There's so many people that there were guys in like reflective vests with like the light up batons, like directing traffic around them. There's that many people. And we're talking, some people are like pulling wagons with like ice chests in them and like people carrying beers and like, it was crazy. But there in the light, silhouetted by Christmas lights in the background, a fucking camel. These people had a fucking camel that they were walking down the fucking road.
A live camel?
One camel, not a nativity. Like just some dude with a camel on a leash.
Nice.
Hey, we brought Rich.
Yeah.
He's got a camel.
Hey, you guys want to go caroling?
What do you guys think?
I know a guy that's got a camel. Would that be cool? So like they're like, yeah, we're caroling, and you like obviously, it's the last people in the group, you know, like the people at the end, so they're fucking wasted. They're like, yeah, we're caroling. Just loop around the block, and we'll do it at your car. And Leslie was like, oh yeah. And I'm like, look, I'm out here looking at Christmas lights. There is no way my anxiety will be able to handle a group of 100 people with a camel surrounding my car and singing at me until they decide to stop. It's not like I can just drive off whenever I'm ready. I was like, that's like a nightmare scenario for me.
The only thing that would make it worse is if birds landed on your fucking
Yeah, like somebody had like a falcon or something on their arm coming up to my window. Do you want to pet him?
Oh shit.
So like we drive around and you can like see now you know they're there. So there's like this huge mass of people that you can see in the darkness. So like I waited until they were at somebody's house singing and then pulled up. And like
And let Leslie listen.
they had the fucking camel like right up at the front porch. And I'm like, if that happened in my neighborhood, if a group of 100 people showed up at my house with a camel in my front yard, like, is that thing gonna just like shit all over my yard? Like, what are you doing?
Imagine if like one of the guys had like a turban on, he was all drunk.
Yeah.
Goes up to the door and knocks on the door. He's like, hey, you get the Messiah? While he's holding the fucking camel.
I'm here for the chosen one.
I brought frankincense.
Hey, Frank. It was just crazy. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
Oh God,
And
I
what's with
can't
the
imagine.
camel?
Why? Like, I mean, I can imagine like if they had like the whole setup.
Right.
Like
I
if
mean,
they brought some hay and they had like, you know, two people dressed up like Mary and Joseph.
I don't
and,
know
like,
if they still do it, but like at one point in time, there's like, you know, we have a lot of mega churches here, and I think one of them had like a live nativity set up with all the animals and everything. But
Frank Smith for the win.
Exactly.
Not being held at Christmas Carol Point.
Yeah. So then, like,
You move and we'll sing.
so then Leslie's like, also, see, Steve doesn't want us to mention his wife. I just throw mine right under the bus. Like, she is the world's worst at recording video. Okay.
Oh God.
Like, as soon as she hits the record button, it's like she starts juggling the fucking phone. So, like, I pull up for her to get video of the carolers. I stop the vehicle. We're dog lovers, okay? You know this.
Oh yeah.
Her even more so than me. And there's like a shaggy dog, you know, like an actual shaggy dog, you know, the white and gray, like long-haired dogs, with this group of people. And I stopped the car, and we're kind of like, there's people, you know, like 100 people. So there's people all over the streets, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, look at the dog. And she's like, what? And I was like, look at the dog. And she starts recording video, and like the phone's all being jumbled around. And she's like, oh my God, don't hit the dog. And so like on this video, like the video starts of the phone being like juggled around and me saying, I'm not going to hit the fucking dog. I'm telling you to look at the dog.
Look at the pretty light.
Yeah. Like I'm pointing out the dog. Why do you think I'm going to run over it? I'm just going to plow into this crowd of carolers and kill a camel and a shaggy dog. But it was just, you know, classic Matt. Candid.
But that would be YouTube gold, man. You should put that up.
But she didn't. It's like a fucking Bigfoot video trying to find the camel in her video.
Okay.
She didn't even know the camel was there.
Put a red circle around it. It'll work.
It's like a blob camel.
I want to understand the camel.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Like, did somebody were they just like, hey, we're gonna go caroling.
Anybody got a camel?
We need a bunch of people to dress up like elves. Can we get some people to bring some sleds so we can have some coolers so we can drink? And hey, can somebody get rich?
I'm pretty sure
He's got a camel.
this being Tulsa and all, at some point right before the caroling was to start, somebody was really high. And they're like, dude, let's bring the camel.
Where do you even find a camel?
Who owns a fucking camel?
In Tulsa.
Yeah.
I'm baffled. Like, I've seen some pretty crazy shit.
It sent me into shock for the rest of the night. I was just walking around saying they had a fucking camel, and everybody's like, shut up about the camel. And I was like, what do you mean shut up about the camel? When was the last time you saw somebody walking a camel down the street?
Yeah. When was the last time you saw a camel in Tulsa?
Yeah.
Or
That
anywhere.
wasn't at like a circus or a zoo. Like, just got a camel.
And for the record, that camel was with a bunch of elves.
Yeah, that we're drinking.
There were was anybody dressed up as wise men or anything?
No.
Just the camel was there
Just
to
a
represent the true meaning of Christmas.
A camel.
The camel, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. It spits in your face.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
Was there a camel shit shoveler?
No,
No.
they
And
just let that shit go.
You know there was nuggets laying all over that neighborhood.
Yeah. Absolutely. They just let that shit fall.
Because when I watch a parade, there's always horses in a parade. I don't know why. They like to have horses but there's that one poor kid, and it's always a kid.
Yeah.
That has to carry the shovel and the bag and clean that shit up.
But you know what the most disgusting thing of this whole thing was? It wasn't the 100 group carolers or the camel.
The fact that you were looking at Christmas lights.
No. She didn't get this on video. This happened right before we drove off. She had pressed stop. There's like a lady back there, and you know, there's the dog. The dog's running around. There's these little kids like petting the dog, and you can tell that this mom is getting pissed off. And she's got two little girls in a wagon that she's pulling around. And I hear her say, Anna, Elsa, do not get out of the wagon.
Oh, Jesus.
This rich yuppie bitch named her kids off Disney characters. And I was like, you know, I'm like looking at Lisa, and I was like, did you hear that? And she was like, hear what? And I was like, those kids' names were Anna and Elsa.
Now, Matt, if you're me, you'd have pulled up next to her and showed her that "Do you want to do some blow man" video that I showed you.
If you have kids and you want to name one of them Anna and one of them, and you know, that's fine. Or one of them Elsa, that's fine. But don't name your kid.
We're not in Scandinavia, though. How about just name him Anna?
Yeah, right. But I mean, I get
Anna.
it. But well, it's better
And
than
you know damn well she's one of those hoity-toity bitches.
Yeah.
Like,
The whole group was.
Just by the way you're talking about it, and they're just hauling around a fucking camel.
Yeah.
Wait. This is totally different because I imagined this was like fucking hillbillies.
No, dude. Tulsa is not. Okay.
No, I like not like hillbillies, but like, you know what I mean. Like,
Right.
When you said there's a bunch of people
With a camel, right?
No, before the camel, and some of them are dressed up like elves, and they're carrying around booze so that they can drink, and then you were like, and they've got a camel. I was like, that's definitely fucking just like it's riffraff. It's something.
No. Like the booze was like IPA, and like they're like some of them were dressed in like Santa hats and tuxedos, and they had their own food truck out there. Not like the kind that like sets up outside the old steel shop or anything, but like Andolini's Pizzeria, like it's like a big place. And they had set up shop at like somebody's house in the neighborhood, like a huge mansion, and that was their base of operations.
Do we have Katie? She's been kind of muted tonight.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Are we missing something with this whole camel thing? Because you have some background.
with camels.
No, not with camels, Steve. You shut your fucking whore mouth.
No, honestly, I've been laughing. I cannot believe. Why would they have a freaking camel?
Well, for those of you who don't know, Katie used to like work at, what was it, a Christian bookstore?
Yes.
Okay, so she's got a little bit of like background with a lot of this like symbolism and shit, and that's why I asked her.
No, I don't. I mean,
I'm
I've
baffled.
seen some live nativities, like that's a thing, but you don't take a camel caroling.
Well, no, and I said I'm thinking like if they were carrying around like some hay or something in like one of the things, and they had like all the stuff to like set it up on somebody's lawn,
Right.
then I could see why you got
A
the
little
camel.
traveling performance art.
Yes.
I
Then
could
I
get that.
understand the camel. Otherwise, camel doesn't make a lick of fucking sense.
It doesn't.
Not in that scenario. No, not at all.
I'm just like, who decided on the camel? Like, that's what I need to know about this story. I need to know why the camel. Because people getting together and having a few drinks and going out caroling, I could imagine my friends and I back in the day doing that. Like being like, hey, we're all sitting around drinking and doing drugs. You guys want to go sing to people? And us going, man, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. And if one of you happened to own a camel,
You probably would have took the camel.
Which is why I went to Riff Raff, Matt.
yeah, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I'm just.
So I got to say, Matt's story is pretty similar to what I experienced today. Without the camel and the Christmas lights. But I went to Walmart today to listen to the Christmas music, of course. And we got the Salvation Army Santa. And, the lady named her kids Anna and Elsa. Well, the lady that I heard today named her kids Little Bastard and Dickface. So...
My mom was at your Walmart?
No, seriously. This lady was screaming at her kids the whole time. She was calling them names like crazy. It was great. And I said to my wife, I said, nothing says Merry Christmas like hearing these people yell at their children at Walmart.
I don't think I caught that Disney feature.
Oh, it's coming. Disney Plus is going to get a little more coarse.
Yes. Well, they got to appeal to all the people who are, leaving YouTube for the COPA laws. So.
Well, hey, I'm gonna say this right now about Disney Plus, The Mandalorian and Jeff Goldblum. That's all I gotta say.
I have Disney Plus.
Have you watched Jeff Goldblum?
No.
Then fuck you, Steve.
I haven't even turned on Disney Plus yet.
It's good.
My wife, I think, uses it, but I don't watch anything.
And they have the entire library of like all the old X-Men cartoons and Spider-Man, like all the old Marvel cartoons.
You know what? You know what else Disney Plus has?
Shut your fucking mouth. I started watching Gargoyles, man.
But there's something that you're missing on Disney Plus.
What?
They have all the old Herbie movies.
Oh,
You know, Herbie Goes Bananas.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do they?
Herbie the
Reloaded.
Love Bug.
Yeah, Herbie the Love Bug.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does Herbie ever go Hawaiian?
I don't recall.
Okay.
Herbie gets herpes.
Yes.
That happens often with Herbie. Herbie, he likes to stick it a little bit of everywhere.
Did you ever catch the Herbie reboot with Lindsay Lohan?
I have.
Oh.
That's the one where he got herpes.
That is also on Disney Plus.
Yeah, she sat in the car.
Yeah.
It can't be that bad.
She sat in the car without underwear on, and Herbie was fucked. Oh, God. Anywho, we've rambled enough, haven't we?
No.
No?
40 minutes.
Steve.
But I saw they had a fucking camel. I couldn't just.
No.
I
Dude,
didn't
that is a
waiting.
worthwhile story to bring to the show.
You and I were
saw-
talking before the show. Did I mention it? No, because I knew.
This is
I
great.
knew. Yeah.
If I had a camel story, we would be talking about the fucking camel.
Yeah, I didn't even get on the internet last night and tell you.
I mean, the only thing I got is it's windy, and I put a $20 joint underneath the Christmas tree today.
Nice.
Holding on to the camel story was the most work I've ever put into this show.
That's more work than I've ever put into this show.
I hate those. Do you guys participate in any of those fucking Yankee swamps?
After your story, I wish I could participate in some with you.
I'm not exactly sure what a Yankee swamp
those
is.
may be the greatest gifts I've ever heard at one of those things.
So everybody was like, so you need to get a $25 gift to put under the tree. So we got a bottle of Crown Royal, Regal Apple, I think it was called, which was good, and a $20 Moon Rock pre-roll joint, it's a joint that has been dipped in distillate and then rolled in keef. For those of you that don't know what that is, look it the fuck up.
K-E-E-F?
It'll knock your fucking socks off. Keif is how it's spelled.
Keef Sweat.
It's basically hash is what keef is. I said to when I got there, I said to my aunt, I said, I'm sick and tired of this. If we're gonna do this shit, let's have some fucking fun. So I turned to her, like, when I got there, I'm like, I put a joint underneath the tree, and she's like, you didn't? I'm like, yeah. She goes, good for you. And it's like I said to everybody there, I'm like, more than half of the people here, if they opened it up, would like it. It's legal.
Steve has that look on his face like he looked up queef instead of keef.
Right.
Oh.
It's dipped in what?
Distillate is the other stuff, Steve.
Yeah, I'm just checking it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I could send you like a link to what
I already
it is
looked it
you'd
up.
like to see.
I figured it out. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, and I was hit today with that.
I bet.
Mm-hmm. It was funny though, because the one person that opened it, somebody else stole it. So I thought that was funny, and I could have stolen it because of where my number sat. So because they played it a little differently than I've ever done it, but I was just like, whatever. I was like, yeah.
It's just kind of funny that somebody said, fuck you, I want the joint.
Oh yeah, I mean, because for the most part, like, everybody keeps what they have or whatever. Not many trades happen or whatever, but that's the part of it that I don't like. Like, you get something, it's like, just fucking open the shit and keep whatever you got, whoever gets whatever gets whatever. So, but, and you can't open your own fucking gifts.
He was banking on that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I personally, I'd love to have opened the friggin' the joint, but I'd have just done what fucking
Your number gets pulled and you casually walk over to the closet and like reach up into the top. Well, how'd this get here?
Yeah. But I mean, I'd have done the same thing and walked right outside and lit it up. I mean, that's what my cousin did. So I was just like, whatever. But it was fun. It made it fun. It made it a good time. So
I
I'm
don't
glad
think
I did
I don't think that'll fly at my Christmas.
Oh, Steve.
You never know until you try.
Yeah, stop being
No,
such
it
a
won't
pussy.
fly. Trust me. We get
You
things like
Steve, you got to stop being.
pocket
You got to take some
tools.
chances. Look, you and your wife now. You took some chances. You're out there. You're doing your
soap.
own thing. You're selling stuff on eBay and Amazon. You're like a fucking, and I think you should take more chances, Steve.
It ain't gonna be that kind of chance.
Steve, I think I'm serious about this when I say this. I think we should honestly push forward for the VW bus idea.
Yeah, that ain't happening. Not anytime
Steve,
soon.
listen.
I know somebody, my father-in-law, as a matter of fact, who's sitting on top of a 61 and a 64 right now in his backyard.
See, Steve?
Yeah. Okay,
We
how
could
much do they
make
want for them?
this happen.
Well, that would be a private conversation, Steve.
Steve, listen.
Yeah, that I know what they're worth.
Yeah.
I don't care what condition.
Steve, listen.
So
You
does
can be,
he.
you can be the
Oh,
straight
damn.
X. Steve, you can be the straight X up front. I'll be the fucking drugs and debauchery in the back. Straight edge up front.
Yeah, I am straight edge. For
Party
sure.
in the back. You guys could
Party-
be a roving mullet.
Yes. Business in the front, party, just like my picture. I'm telling you, Steve.
I'm just not 100% down for it.
Well,
But
Chris and I were talking
a
about.
61 and a 60. Are either one of those 21 windows?
Steve, we can talk later. But Chris and I were talking about, the concept of them federally legalizing marijuana.
Mhm.
And if that happens, the Amazon market is going to be crazy.
Yeah, you won't be able to buy it on Amazon.
Well,
That is something's interesting. And Steve might be right about that.
You will.
And here's why. Because I think it will wind up being put under the same type of restrictions as alcohol, and Amazon doesn't get into alcohol.
And you can't even buy vape products on Amazon.
Yeah, and the vape
But that's
stuff
because
is,
it's illegal in some places.
well, I think even if they legalize it federally,
Yeah.
some of the states are still going to hold on for a while. And I think that's going to be a problem. I think it's going to make it a big problem. I think you'll be able to ship state to state where there isn't a problem, but I think that will be like for personal stuff. I don't think I tend to think Steve's right on this one with the Amazon stuff, that they won't allow that shit.
Maybe the paraphernalia side, but not the actual.
Oh, they already do paraphernalia.
Yeah.
Like
But
wicked.
But I can't even buy vape coils on eBay anymore.
Yeah, no.
They shut that shit down.
You can't buy juice. You can't buy nothing. I was asking the people at the store where I get my juice and stuff, like, how the fuck do you guys do this? They're like, they threw up their hands. They're like, we don't know. We get it through loopholes, but you can't
I can't
order it anymore.
I order my shit, but maybe you can't because of the state you're in.
Well, you're ordering stuff
The
to combine,
components.
right?
Yes, the
Yeah, that's why.
components.
That's how you get away with it.
But I can
But
buy
Maine specifically went after it. You can't ship that stuff into Maine anymore.
I can buy medical grade nicotine juice without any licensing or anything. 100 milligrams per
Which is
milliliter,
which is actually
strong
dangerous.
shit. Yeah, but I can buy it. It comes out of California.
You can kill somebody with it.
If a little kid got into that bottle and drank it, they'd die.
Yep, you kill
Yeah.
somebody with it.
Mhm.
It is very, very easy to kill
It
somebody.
doesn't
with
take
nicotine.
much.
Nope. No. I actually, somebody you both know that I dated, I'll say dated.
Shelley? No, I don't know Shelley.
No.
Don't start throwing names out.
Yeah, don't start throwing names out. I actually worked on the patch at one of the labs that she had worked at, and when I was looking into getting into vaping, and she was like adamant about, be sure you get that shit off you if you get it on you or whatever, because of how dangerous it is.
Well, when you have a patch, you're not supposed to smoke cigarettes at the same time because you can get it. kind of like an overdose.
Right. But like I mean, getting it on your like your skin like that and shit. Like she said she had to be very careful handling the nicotine stuff because of how dangerous it was. The concentrates that they were working with on the patch. And I know it's different when it comes to the vapes that we use, but it's still a dangerous amount. It's still a very dangerous amount. And it's amazing that they threw it everywhere.
I can buy a higher grade,
Oh yeah.
but I'm not going to. And
Have you
there's
seen,
no restrictions.
have you seen how high the salt nicotine grades go?
Uh-uh.
Oh my God. Like I was just like, holy shit, it's like 40 something milligrams compared to like I'm using 6.
I use in my vape juice. I use approximately 3 milligrams per milliliter.
Yeah.
But the nicotine juice has 100 milligrams per milliliter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you dilute it by putting it in the juice.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean the salt stuff it's fucking heavy on the nicotine. It's crazy. I'm like,
And
holy fuck.
your average cigarette has maybe 1 milligram per milliliter or less. So, but because of the way you intake this, you have a higher amount.
Right.
So,
Yeah. But anyway, I wanted to go over the Marconi murders tonight. This is another one of those things that I found on that channel, that chapter. And I was just like, what? How did I not hear about this or know about this? It was just like all these people dying under strange or mysterious circumstances, or their quote unquote suicides were like, what? It immediately reminded me of the whole Clinton body count list, where it's like, okay, like, yeah, maybe some of this is blown out of proportion, but it's a pretty long list. So when I saw this and when I was hearing these, the list of these people and what happened and how this all unfolded, all these people worked at Marconi Electric Systems, and it was wasn't it in the UK, Katie? Did all this took place in the UK or in Europe?
In Britain.
Yeah. So I'll just start this whole thing off with what she's got written up for me here. While the defense industry was booming in the 1980s, there was a string of horrific and suspicious deaths within Britain's high-tech researchers. These deaths were between the years of 1982 and 1990, and count of about 25. All of the victims were employees of Marconi Electric Systems or other high-tech research companies that were contracted for top-secret defense programs, such as Reagan's U.S. Strategic Defense Initiative, also nicknamed Star Wars.
Oh.
All these deaths were either ruled a suicide, an accident, or an unknown cause. The deaths had greatly increased in number by 1987, and the press had caught on to the story. It all starts with Dr. Keith Bowden, a contractor for Marconi. In March of 1982, he drove his car off an embankment, resulting in a crash that killed him instantly. Police said that he was drunk and speeding and ruled it as an accident. However, everyone with him that night stated he had not been drinking at all. A private investigator hired by the family examined the wreck and found the tires on his vehicle had been swapped with severely worn tires that would have been extremely dangerous. I'm going to fuck this one up. Vimal Dajibibihai.
Yes.
That guy.
Nailed it.
Yep. Was 24 when he jumped off a suspension bridge. He was found in the water with his pants at his ankles and a needle puncture wound on his buttocks. No verdict could be determined on his manner of death. Arshad Sharif's death at 26 might be the strangest of all of them. He tied a rope from his neck to a tree and then sped away in his car. Oh, I've seen something like this.
Ooh, I don't even. Yeah, no.
Ultimately decapitating himself, but a family member who had come to the scene found a metal rod on the floor of the driver's seat, indicating the accelerator could have been anchored down. The coroner was not pleased with the situation he was in and refused to place a verdict on the manner of death. Shani Warren was a 26. I'm going to say Shani. Was a 26-year-old when she was found dead in the shallow banks of a lake. She was gagged, feet and hands both bound, but with her stiletto heels still on. This was initially ruled a suicide, but changed to an open verdict when it was discovered she had been sexually assaulted, and an investigator argued she could not have hobbled to the lake with her legs bound and heels on.
And she could not have sexually assaulted herself. Well, I guess she could have, but...
Christ. Yeah. These are just a few of the standout deaths. There were so many, and they were not all unique. There were 5 different researchers who died of carbon monoxide poisoning in their car or in their garages. That's a high number.
Yeah.
There were 6 suspicious car accidents. There were 3 men who were ruled to have died by accidental suicide via sexual misadventure, meaning they choked themselves to death, being found in various degrees of undress and in explicit scenarios. There were 2 men who killed themselves by electrocution, one going as far as to connect bare wires to his teeth fillings to carry out the electrocution. That's a fucking bold statement.
Why would any of this even be in question?
It goes on.
Nobody's going to torture themselves to death.
There was also a shotgun suicide.
Those are popular.
A jump from a hotel window, and another drowning. There was one victim who didn't die, Avtar Sinj Gilda. He had went missing on the same night as one of his colleagues' deaths. He turned up 15 weeks later in Paris with no recollection of why he was there or what he had done for the past weeks. The similarities in these cases are numerous. Many of these cases happened just days apart and in close proximity of each other. Many of these people were found dead in Bristol specifically. Odd for the particular cases because the victims didn't live in Bristol but traveled there for their death. All of the deaths that had been ruled suicides were refuted by the families, insisting that they were not suicidal at all and could even prove that they were making future plans for themselves. One man had even confided in his family just a few days before his death that he felt as though he was being followed and was in danger. Another astonishing similarity is that many of these people had been seeking other employment and were just weeks away from starting new jobs. Ooh, that's a hell of a fucking company to work for. You don't want to work here?
Well, no, I know what's going on there. They didn't want the trade secrets getting out. That's
right. Theories that go against a conspiracy point to the fact that their jobs were extremely high pressure and high stress, increasing the statistics on suicide. However, many others point to the specifics of these cases and the uncertainty of what really happened to the victims. So many of these death scenarios are known espionage methods of covering up a murder. The speculation is only strengthened by the field of top secret government projects these people were working in. It is easy to imagine that these victims held sensitive knowledge that a government would want to protect at all costs. Conspiracy theories don't all point to the U.S. government, though. There are many who speculate that a competing government such as Russia or Germany could be attempting to infiltrate U.S. defense contract work. Several journalists have dug in deep to try and solve this mystery. However, no one has been able to confirm any solid connections to any specific group. One even made a Freedom of Information Act filing to force the U.S. government to speak on the topic. They delayed the request for months, eventually only stating that they have no records on any of the cases.
Of course they do.
Okay, so I got confused somewhere.
All right, what'd you miss?
All of these people were in the UK?
Yeah.
Then why is it connected to the U.S.?
Because they were doing contract work for the Reagan administration.
Right. The Star Wars program.
Correct.
which was an anti-missile defense program, basically.
Correct. Yes.
That the rest of the world didn't want us to have, because then we could shoot our nukes and they couldn't shoot theirs, because we could just shoot theirs down and let ours go through.
Right.
It was a pretty big. So why would anybody out there think that the U.S. killed these people and not one of the many other countries that didn't want the Star Wars program to happen?
Because my take on that would be, if it was the U.S., okay, these people were looking to leave that program.
Yep.
Whatever it was, and Steve could be right on this. I hate to fucking say he's been right like twice in the same show.
I'm not usually right twice in the same year.
But
I'll let you say it.
He might be right about the trade secrets thing. Because if they were working on that and the U.S. didn't want anybody to know, there was a lot of cloak and dagger shit going on back then. You're talking Cold War shit, man.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying, like, I just,
Or
it
would
the
have been
U.S. killing their own people.
No, I don't think the government would have done it. But
No.
I do think on a company level, these companies are really competitive to get these contracts. And so when they think somebody's going to spill the beans to another company, I can see that happening.
Yeah, good.
I don't think any.
I'm just saying this happened in the same country. I mean, Princess Diana. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. This is. Hey, listen. There's some strange shit that goes on.
Yeah.
Strange shit that goes on.
Oh, you want a car accident, do you?
Oh yeah.
We can do that.
I bet you fucking old Prince Andrew's fucking sweating right now.
I'll take the bus.
No, we got a driver for you. Oh no, I'm gonna call an Uber. That
I mean,
motherfucker.
How much does this stuff happen, though? I mean,
Here's the thing. Like, the minute I saw this, the list of these murders you're talking, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, though, the minute I saw this, Matt, the first thing I thought was, this reminds me of the Clinton body count.
Right.
Like, I mean, anybody who looks at the quote unquote Clinton body count, people associated with the Clintons on some level, somewhere, in something, that have died under mysterious circumstances. And there's a pretty large list.
Yes.
Okay. Now, even if you take away the ones that can be kind of explained away, there's still a lot of very strange deaths there. And that makes you go, The same thing with this. It's the number.
Well, think
like,
about how popular like true crime has become as a form of entertainment for us. I mean,
oh yeah,
dude,
you love it.
I spent fucking like a whole
Yeah.
week.
And you've got
I'm just coming back into the daylight.
And you've got like all these fictional shows that are based off of true crime scenarios, like NCIS and all that.
A procedural? Oh,
Right.
I love a good procedural.
And all of those shows are like one of the most commonly stated lines. How were the victims connected? They always look for that. And here you have a scenario where all the victims are connected at one point.
But there's nothing going on here.
There's nothing to look at, folks.
Nothing to see here. Excuse me, I'm going to just close this curtain.
Pay no attention to the man behind.
And I guess it's because, like, the public, first off, our attention span is so small that, like, oh, that's horrible. You should look into that. Oh, okay. Oh, look what the Kardashians did today. And we've moved on, And even if we didn't move on, what could we actually accomplish? I mean, because like with the Clinton list and like this, like, oh, it's just coincidence.
Yeah, that's where it's always going to wind up when it comes down to it with the stuff like this. Say what you want about the whole Epstein thing. I mean, I hate to drag it out, but whether he killed himself or didn't kill himself, the fact of the matter is how fucked up the investigation has been into it, or lack thereof.
It's the lack thereof that bothers me.
That's the thing. And you've got this stuff that goes on, like we were saying, Clinton stuff, the Clinton body count thing. Now, now we're talking about the Marconi murders. The fact that it was headed off at the pass way back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
None of these cases are open. They're closed. No one's going to look into them unless the family hires some private investigator or whatever.
A woman bound herself wearing high heels.
Yeah.
And made her way to a lake to drown herself.
And that was ruled as a suicide.
As opposed to doing the same thing in the comfort of her home and doing it in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Here's the one that got me is that you talked about the one, but the coroner didn't even want anything to do with it.
I'm not touching this one.
Yeah.
You know why?
I'm not touching it.
Because somebody's fucking pressuring that coroner to make a certain decision.
Right. To falsify something or to say something that might be shady.
Like, yeah, he hung himself, but what about the bullet hole in the back of his head?
No.
It's just a fail safe.
Well, the guy jumps off a bridge with his pants down and a hole in his ass from a needle.
Yeah.
Who does that? Nobody does
but we can't determine the cause of death on that one, Steve.
Yeah, and
that's listen,
undetermined
man,
cause of death. Fall
pants
from a
down,
bridge.
needle mark in his ass. He's in the river. He's dead. Listen, that's a fucking suicide, cut and dry.
Yeah. Well, pants down, I get. Maybe. I mean, maybe he wanted to. I don't know. Go out the same way he came in. I don't know. Naked,
Matt, I know you're with me on this. Guy shoots himself in the chest, double tap.
Yeah.
It's fucking classic suicide.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've talked to friends that, were police officers and heard their stories about, any cop you talk to, and you ask them, because that's one of the things I ask cops, what's the most fucked up thing you've heard? They all answer the same, it's whenever kids are involved with abuse.
Yep.
And suicides.
Yep.
And suicides, they've all said the same thing, are like, people don't get creative whenever it comes to suicide. And they don't put a lot of work into killing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, you run across the same things over and over and over and over and over. You don't, but here we have a scenario where you have like a large group of people
in a concentrated area
that are all connected to a single point that killed themselves in a variety of ways.
Creative ways, even.
The same time span. They all decided to off it. It just wasn't worth it anymore. Like, no, it's obvious that something's happening.
Oh, yeah. It is so obvious that there's some type of shenanigans going on there. That how it wasn't put together and how something didn't get pointed out way back then.
Well, because the investigators into that are also going to end up not killing themselves.
You had that one guy who he tells his parents I think I'm in danger. I think somebody's been following me. And next week he kills himself.
Yeah.
He told us this was going to happen.
And you find that a lot in these stories.
Yeah.
In these disappearances. Like, I've run across a lot of these disappearances where there was one I came across. This guy in Texas, I think it was, and he's working in the oil fields. And he was having a fucked up situation with his girlfriend / wife. I don't know what she was or whatever. And he had a warrant out for his arrest. Okay. So his truck is eventually found on the side of the road, but he calls 911 from a field and says that people are chasing him. And they're trying to understand him. And they understand him. And they're like, so what's going on? He's like, I need the police. Send the police. So this guy had a warrant for his arrest and he's asking for the police.
Come get me.
Right. They show up and this whole thing gets all fucked up. Two of his friends show up with a gas can because he had texted them before to say, come with gas. So his friend, I guess, knew that he was somewhere around, but didn't tell the police on the scene because he knew about the warrant. But he also didn't know about the 911 call from his friend saying, bring the fucking police.
My friends are trying to kill me and light me on fire.
I mean, and this whole story, I'm just like, what the fuck? But you run into some of these things where it's very obvious to me in a lot of these disappearance cases where you see police fucking up and then you see them covering their ass. And that's where I think the problem lies. This covering of the ass of the investigators who do this shit, that's where it needs to stop, because that's what is and with these suicides, it that's what I said. These cases aren't open. They're closed.
Well, that's really weird. See, because like you're talking about this scenario, and I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know what it's like everywhere, but for instance, here where I live, they're constantly like, I mean, just this past year, they're trying to like find the bodies of these two girls that disappeared in like the 70s. They're still working them.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was shot and killed in his home during a home invasion. And this was back in like, 1997, 98, around there.
Wow.
And like they didn't make the last arrest in that case until way into the 2000s.
Yeah.
They didn't just drop it, you know. And like here you have something like this where they're like, oh, I'm just going to drop it.
Yeah.
Like,
see, and that's the thing is, it's like, it's so obvious that somebody was either strong-armed or there's some tomfuckery going on in the investigative process.
I would guess in this situation it was more strong-armed than anything.
But and I think that's where the problem is. You know, like I said, I went on this deep dive with these whole disappearance videos. And the one thing that I learned, like, the national park system has to really fucking change some shit when it comes to missing people. And you know, I've always said that I'm not a big fan of the Pleiades way of talking about that shit. But I after like looking at a bunch of those different missing person cases and hearing like how they were handled, it's the handling that bothers me. It's not the strangeness of the disappearance. Or,
my problem has never been, I mean, those people went missing, you know, like that shit happens and there is something to it that, you know, something's going on.
Well, and it's not even the something going on, Matt. It's the fact that there's no, like, especially on national park land, there's like no database. There's no nothing.
There's no real investigative branch of the.
Yeah, and there just needs to be when it comes to that. And then you find in the other cases where you have these disappearances and it happens like in a city. I think I watched one from Tulsa just recently. You know, it's just like they fucked the pooch. And you can see like how it goes. They completely just fucking fuck it. And it's like, why was that done? And then they, you know, later on they find out about it, you know, that they fucked it up.
Yeah.
It's like, when is that stuff going to be come down on? You know, like all these cases where these little girls or little boys went missing, you know, or even, I mean, even fucking adults, you know, or, you know, get murdered or whatever, kidnapped. And then they find out years later that these police officers fucked it up. Like, when is that stuff going to be looked into? That's my problem with all of this. From seeing it and going through all of
the more time that passes, the less people alive that care.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
Everybody that cares is gone.
Yeah.
And that's
what that's like with this Marconi murders thing, you know, it's that's what they banked on. They banked on, they will close the case, everybody will move on, and no one's going to care.
Right. I mean, like in the UK right now, I mean, I'm not saying I'm like an expert on current events happening in the crime syndicates of the UK, but I mean, like you're talking about shit that happened in the 80s that was connected to a program that went defunct, by a former United States president. They've got people throwing acid in people's faces and stabbings and terrorist attacks. Do you think they're going to, take the manpower to reopen that and look into it and get to the bottom of it? Like,
yeah, no.
No.
Not something that happened back in
And those families
the
will
80s and
never
90s.
get the closure that they're looking for.
No. Nope. And it's going to be the same way with a lot of these, missing persons cases. These
Yeah.
These people that have disappeared. The one that really gets me, and we're going to talk about it when we do the missing 411 here pretty soon, and I hope that fucking raises the hair on Phil's neck, is the Dion Dior Kuntz.
Dean Kuntz.
Yeah, Dean Kuntz. This little kid, and he just fucking vanished. And I mean, say what you, and I completely agree. Like, there's so many different things that could have happened, and why he disappeared. And it's an obvious one where the people who are involved are not telling the whole fucking story. And that's why it gets me. It's like, if what they're saying is true, then his disappearance is very strange. But they're all of them are something about their story doesn't ring true, and it's just like, ugh.
Well, how many times do you think that happens? People covering their own ass.
Oh, it happens a lot.
And like leaving information out. Like right now, I saw a thing. I won't pitch the show that I watch every week, but you know what it is. Where they do a thing like on a missing person, and there's a 17-year-old girl missing from a town in Oklahoma. Her parents are adamant that she's not the type to just disappear. Watching the story, I'm like, yep, that's an internet boyfriend. They haven't seen her around the town that she's from. Obviously not, because she's not in that town. She's left that town. But like her sister got text messages from her. Yeah. Like somebody fucking knows. Yeah. Somebody knows and doesn't want to say because they don't want to get in trouble.
Right. And a lot of times, like the thing that bugs me with that is I think a lot of police officers got used to the idea that if a person isn't missing for a certain amount of time, then they're not missing.
Yeah.
And I think we need to get out of that mindset, because that's not how it works all the time.
No, it's not.
And by waiting that amount of time, it's the difference between life and death for some of these people.
Yep.
And I think that's what's more important.
Well, it happens so quickly in a lot of scenarios.
Yeah.
And like, I've watched videos which are just terrifying.
Oh, where, surveillance of somebody getting snatched or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, wow,
It'll freak you the fuck out.
Yeah. And like,
more
it
than
doesn't just happen
around your fucking car, man.
And it's not just like teenagers meeting people on the internet, Right. And I'm sure there's a lot of scenarios where like parents don't give all the information because they know that it'll put them at fault for being a bad parent, and not paying attention to where their kid was and things like that. And at some point you just have to like, screw it. I'm going to tell the truth no matter what, because this person's life is in jeopardy.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times when it comes to parents are way blinder than they think they are.
Absolutely.
You need to, like, I talk as candidly as I can, because I never want them to think like that I'm talking down to them. I want to know what's going on. And I test that shit all the fucking time. Now, am I a perfect fucking parent? No, but I like to know what the fuck's going on.
Whenever I was young, my grandparents, we had the lake house property that we'd go to all the time, like every weekend. And there's this guy that rode a bicycle around the town that the lake house was by. It was like a quarter mile away, and I was always going up there because they had a convenience store where I could buy candy and soda and all that crap. Well, there's this guy that would ride his bike around, and he was, I would probably guess, late 20s, early 30s. And, you know, everybody up there knew one another. It was like a community or whatever. And I had talked, he had waved at me a few times whenever I was riding my bike by him or whatever and said hello to me. Didn't think nothing of it. One day, my grandma pulls me aside or whatever, you know, to talk to me. And she's like, have you seen, you know, that guy that rides his bike there around town? And I said, yeah. She said, has he ever talked to you? And I said, well, he said hello. And she was like, well, you stay away from him. If you see him, you just go the other way. And I'm like, okay, you know, like, what is it? Why, you know? And she is like, he molests little kids. Okay, so at this age, I'm so young, I had never heard that term before. So I'm like asking her, like, what do you mean? What does that mean? And she is like, you know, he touches little kids, you know, he touches their privates and things like that. So here we have a scenario that could be a rumor ruining this man's life. That's not true.
Yeah.
Or it could be true.
And it could just be a warning.
Nobody's doing a fucking thing about it.
Right.
And he's just riding his bike around waving at little kids.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing, and I know this for a fact. There was a pedophile that was covered up in a town where I grew up. I know it for a fact.
Well, whenever I got older, my logic went to, well, if everybody knows he does this, why is he riding his bike around town?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Now, I've had to look at it from both angles, you know, like, I mean, nothing ever happened.
Like, the thing is like, okay, so do people just know it, quote unquote know it?
Right.
You know, that's the thing that you have to ask yourself, you know, in these situations, because like you said, the court of public opinion can kill people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying like physically kill people, but look at what's happened to some of these people. Look at what happened to that woman who made a stupid AIDS joke before she got on a plane to go to Africa. And
I'm unaware of that.
So she was like, I can't remember how the joke went. It was
maybe
like,
you shouldn't tell the joke.
No, it's fine. It's fine. She's like, you know, I'm jumping on a plane to go to Africa. Hope I don't get AIDS. Oh, wait, I'm white. That was the joke. It was just a fucking joke.
Yeah, it was a bad joke.
Still, it's just a fucking joke,
right.
Steve.
She
gets on a plane. She wakes up in Africa, and I think she lost she woke up to like a shitstorm, lost her job, fucking lost everything.
Got AIDS.
Yeah, got AIDS.
Wouldn't that be the hell of it, right?
But like, it just destroyed, like, shit like that, just stupid shit turns out to be something completely,
nobody should
blown
have their
way
life,
out of proportion.
Nobody should have their life destroyed for something they say.
Right. You know, but that's like this whole court of public opinion thing that happens with shit. It's like Louis C.K. trying to go back out and do stand-up. And these people going and nitpicking his stand-up. It's like, shut the fuck up. He's a comedian trying to work a fucking joke out. Like, fuck. Ugh. I hate people like that. People who do that. They'll find these little things within something to fucking be pissed off about. Shut up. Don't you have something better to do?
I take offense to you saying shut up.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, Steve, don't you have something better to do?
Yeah. Why don't you go sell shit?
Your judging eyes.
You know? You got something better to do on Sunday nights?
Yeah.
Hey, you gonna do you gonna do a call show?
Apparently not. He hasn't messaged me. I was supposed to call we had discussed doing a show.
Why don't you message him?
It's not my job. It's his job.
Okay.
Right?
Hey, maybe he thinks he's worked it out with you, and you're just going to be there.
Oh, well.
How do you know?
Send me a link. I'll be there.
All right.
All right.
What are you going to talk about?
Everything and shit and stuff.
Everything and shit and stuff?
Yeah.
That tells me so much, Steve.
Yeah. No, we're going back and if we do the show, I don't even know.
Right.
We're going back and discussing a little bit about the SMEA thing and the polygraph examiner. I guess I did an article back in 2012 that he just recently found. And
now, what is Carl's take on SMEA? Do we know?
I didn't get the full take. Do I hear mice? What am I hearing?
No, you hear crickets.
No, go on. That's very interesting. The guy that shot and killed a juvenile Bigfoot with no evidence.
Yeah. Anyway, it was supposed to be about that, but
what do you know what Carl's take is on that one, Matt?
Yeah.
I have.
Wait a minute. Wait. Do you know what his public take on that is?
Oh no.
I don't know what his public take is. I have no idea what his public take is.
Yeah, I don't want.
Very well be the same take as his private take on it.
Right. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him.
Obviously, at this point, everybody's pretty certain that it was a
That's
big
me. How it's full of shit.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be
I
the
think
public
something
take, yes.
that would be interesting for you to cover, though, which obviously you're going to talk about, is the world really needs to get over this whole lie detector test thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they passed a polygraph.
Well,
Polygraphs
it would focus more on. And by the way, let me say something real quick. Go fuck yourself, Dan. Dan is a friend. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I think he is. Maybe not.
Yeah.
And by the way, my lows didn't have any. So anyway, the
Did they?
I'm having trouble with my MacBook and yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
Where was it going?
I don't know.
Oh, it was more on the technicalities on how that lie detector test was done and how an appropriate lie detector test is done. So that would be more the focus.
Right, but even an appropriate, I think we need to get away from this idea of lie detector tests.
I can buy a polygraph machine and get certified on the internet and go give anybody I want to a lie detector test and say whatever results I want to say, depending on how they pay me.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't like, that's what I'm saying. If it's outside and like, obviously they don't allow them as evidence. We know that, or proof of crime or whatever in a courtroom, but any polygraph test outside of a courtroom, I'm not paying attention to.
Right, but here's the thing, Matt.
Except for the one that Travis Walton.
They have inundated us so much with polygraph shit that it is very hard after you've heard, well, he passed a polygraph. For some people, it is very hard for them to not see that person as truthful. Or if they failed the polygraph, to not see them as liars.
But whenever it became part of the daytime talk show gimmick, like whenever there was like shows based on polygraph tests, and there still are. There still are.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: the guy who was the main player on the TV shows that did the polygraph test, bilking people out of money in the back. There's a lot of things that were going on in his background, and he's just full of shit. And the lady who took Justin's polygraph took his course. So where does that put her? And that was the whole gist of my art. It was an interview I did with her. The article I wrote has disappeared from the internet, and that was my mistake.
Hey, we're going to pay you $100 to come on this movie we're making and just play your role as a polygraph person, an administrator, and just say that you got these results and everything. Is that okay? We just want to use a real person That way, if anybody looks it up on the internet or whatever, they'll see that you're an actual real person.
Right.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, Charles. Matt did take a lie detector test and failed it, and they asked him if he fucked your mom.
And I said no.
Anyway, I had to deal with that, Steve. Sorry.
But anyway, if we ever do the show, because I don't think we're doing it tonight. Coles hasn't posted anything today. Usually he posts a thing about his show in the morning, but he's a busy guy, you know, with his investigative.
Yes.
And so.
Get it? I said no and failed. I mean, that means I did fuck your mom.
Oh, well, I didn't even get it. Jeez. What is it with this Charles dude anyway?
He likes me.
He likes Matt. He's not a
He wants Matt's. He saw Matt's photo tonight, and now he wants a piece.
Well, he was doing this last time too.
Yeah,
he's like your very personal internet.
I gave him a moment of publicity, and he just ran with it.
Yeah, they all do.
They think if they're in the chat, they're part of the show. And that's fine.
Some of them listen. Some of them find their place, and some of them don't. And there's people who are able to be contributors, and they know who they are, and there are people that suck, and they know who they are.
I don't think the people who suck know who they are. That's the problem.
I try to make it pretty apparent.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that doesn't. It's not. It might be apparent to you and I, but not apparent to say Charles, for example.
Oh. Huh. Well, I try, Steve. I try to make it as clear and concise.
Ryan knows he sucks when he's in our chat. He does it on purpose. We get it, right?
Right.
He's one of the ones that
you find example
finds his place.
That I saw the other day was I ran across a thing. It was a live video on YouTube, like a live presentation that had been scheduled. Okay. So it hadn't taken place yet. And it had 3 thumbs up and 2 thumbs down.
Sounds like my videos.
So wait a minute. It hadn't taken place yet. It
hadn't even started yet.
But it had 3 thumbs up and 2 thumbs down?
Yes.
How does YouTube even allow that to be possible?
I don't know. But it was just like I saw that and I was like, that's almost a perfect example of how the internet works.
I did a video on how to get free stuff at a CVS pharmacy. How to get free stuff at a free door. And immediately, as I posted that video, I already had 3 thumbs down before they could even have time to watch it.
When we're done, usually with this show, a lot of times I have at least 1 or 2 thumbs down.
They should all be thumbs down on this show.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
when you're telling people how to go out and get free stuff for free, why is that a thumbs downable offense? I don't get it.
Maybe they didn't like your presentation.
Maybe they work for CVS.
Maybe
think your hat
assholes.
sucks.
My hat does suck. It's falling apart. I've worn it all out of it. Yeah.
I mean, maybe they got a problem with you.
Well, most people do.
I do.
I don't disagree. I know.
Listen, I've said that our fans suck for a long time.
Yeah, they all do. Most of them. Except that one guy who I can't remember.
Which one?
Yeah, the
Chubbs?
one I can't remember. Yeah. Well, Chubbs is okay.
Chubbs is okay?
Yeah.
That one guy, remember?
Wait.
Our
Chubbs
super fan?
Chubbs is okay.
Yeah.
Chubbs okay, now Chubbs is like one of the only people. I didn't mean
just okay.
That comments on every show.
I meant okay just as about. In really okay.
He's been a little lax lately. I'm going to give him a little ribbon right now. Here you go, Chubbs. But generally Chubbs is on the fucking ball. And Chubbs was one of the only people to send a video in for us.
Yeah. For
the producer spot.
No, not the only.
He was one of the only.
Oh, yes.
People. I just don't think you should be that way towards him, Steve. Chubbs is a fine gentleman.
Chubb, I said he's okay. I said he's okay, and I didn't mean okay in the negative sense of okay. I meant okay in the most.
There's stuff about Chubbs that you guys don't even know about.
What do I not know?
I'm not telling you.
Well, he's nicknamed Chubbs.
I know he started a podcast.
Did he?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. He posted it in the Fortean Slip group page.
The Chubbcast.
He's got it on Anchor.
Should be the Chubbcast. That would be a good name
Chubbcast?
for it. Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. I just saw that he posted it because I had to approve it. So
Does he call his listeners the Chubbies?
I don't know, but he should.
Yeah,
That's a fucking great thing.
Chubbs, if you're listening right now.
Yeah, call your listeners the Chubbies.
Yeah, the Chubbies.
That's the way to go, bub.
I need a link to that podcast.
It's in the
Alcorn wants to be a guest on that podcast.
I do not.
Why not?
The Sweetwater legend. Say hey.
I need to.
You could shoot him to instant fame.
Oh yeah, because of all my followers and subscribers and fans, sure.
Steve, you're a desired man on the internet.
People want to talk to me, but they don't want to talk to me. You know how that it's like a catch-22. Yeah, he'd be a good guy to have on the show, but they never contact me.
I have that same problem as far as people think they want to talk to me, but they don't really want to talk to me.
Right.
And they usually find out as soon as they try to.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, this guy's a dick.
Yeah.
Or, oh, he's not really as knowledgeable as he sounds. That kind of thing.
Right.
Anyhow, it has been a day for me, so I'm gonna wrap this show up tonight, gentlemen. Unless you have anything else on the Marconi murders or otherwise, Steve.
Spreadshirt.com /
Nope, he doesn't have anything.
Hey, I'm trying here.
I have something for after the show.
Ooh,
when we're off air,
we get a little after show delay.
A topic suggestion.
Okay. I do know that next week we are doing Christmas mysteries. So,
Like how does Santa get down the chimney when he's really fat?
He's
no,
magic.
Oh,
no. Listen, Steve, I have told you this before, and I will tell you this again. Okay?
Don't say it.
I like Santa.
Don't say it.
Prefer some magic when I'm trying to get in and out of houses undetected.
I see.
Yeah. It's preferable. And you are the Sweetwater legend.
That is right. I'm going to embrace it now. I mean, I'm not even going to run from it anymore. I am the fucking Sweetwater fucking legend.
Well, then we're going to quit using it.
I'm not.
This has been the Fortean Slip, episode 113, The Star Wars Murders. If you like this shit, hit the little thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. Leave a comment. Subscribe. Check out our good friend Matt Knapp at youtube.com/bigfootcrossroads and youtube.com/cryptid tales. Check out our podcast on Anchor at anchor.fm/the Fortean Slip. Please subscribe there as well. Listen to the show there. Do that shit. Check out Richard Allen's comic strip, Bigfootin' with Keith and Colin on Facebook. I am not going to read that fucking link. Ever.
7636752104.
And check out our good friend Phil Poling over at youtube.com/Parabreakdown. If you run across any good videos, please send them to Phil. His the well is dry. Let's just say that. If anybody's seen his last breakdown, that video was a bag of shit. Not Phil. I mean, Phil does his thing, but that was a bag of shit. Check out our good friend Dred Funn at dredfunn.com and youtube.com/Dred Funn. As always, he's pumping out some great shit. We will be back next week with, of course, the Christmas mysteries. Until then, see ya!